One of the things that was really exciting about working on this project was that we could get involved really, really early.
What was your first instinctive reaction?
Called my mom.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm doing okay.
Because one of our hopes and dreams about being in a situation for the first time as a band where we could work with an orchestra, a real live orchestra together.
Son Lux, Ryan, Rafiq, and Ian, great to speak to you guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah,
How are
great to
you?
meet you, Hrishi K. Yeah.
Excellent. Ryan, can you describe the process of developing musical themes for characters such as Yelena, Belova, Bucky Barnes, and Red Guardian in Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts?
Yeah. One of the things that was really exciting about working on this project was that we could get involved really, really early. And this is our second film score as a band. Our first film was Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the reason why that felt really rewarding for us, one of the reasons is that we were involved really early as well. And so when we were asked, when Jake, the director, reached out to us about doing this one, we were really excited to do it. But one of the things we said is what would make us thrilled is if we can get in on the ground level before you start shooting. We want to start developing the sound of this movie before the picture even happens. So the process of designing the score for this began with Jake on my couch in my studio once a week for like months. And these guys, we all live in different places. Ian's in Mexico City, Rafiq's in Brooklyn. So they're there virtually, and we're all basically together, the four of us, making sounds and trying to figure out what do these characters feel like, and maybe less what does each individual character feel like, but what does this movie, what is this collective group of people, what is the emotion of this film feel like, rather than thinking about themes being assigned to specific characters. And, we didn't know at first. It was really a process of discovery. And I think that's what made it such a rich experience. We weren't just trying to weren't really trying to solve an equation. We were trying to even figure out what the equation was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Rafiq, how do you decide when to use electronic versus orchestral elements in a score? The whole orchestra thing versus the electronic thing.
That's a great question. And it's actually something that we really thought about and conceptualized very, very early in the conversation, even before we had decided to do this. Because one of our hopes and dreams about being in a situation for the first time as a band where we could work with an orchestra, a real live orchestra together, was the idea that these kinds of binaries between electronic and orchestral, perhaps don't need to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that in fact, that's something that's always been core to the process that the three of us have explored together, where many sounds that seem like they might be electronic in Son Lux's music are actually born of orchestral or otherwise acoustic or, real sound sources that we've taken and manipulated like clay, And so we really wanted to have the chance to do that with a full orchestra. And this project, Thunderbolts, was the first time that we've had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do some sessions with the incredible London Contemporary Orchestra, which is a very adventurous ensemble. And we went in early in the process with them and recorded all of these materials that we could take back to our computers and transform and sculpt and shape into things that don't necessarily sound like orchestra, or in some cases don't at all sound like orchestra, but the sort of gradient that we were able to achieve between, something that's purely orchestral and something that feels very electronic, all coming from orchestra as the source material, is something that we're very proud of and excited to share with people.
Lovely. Ian, when you heard that you guys were going to compose for a Marvel film, I mean, we dream of this stuff since we were kids. I've been watching Marvel movies. What was your first instinctive reaction?
Called my mom.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm doing okay.
I think you had a similar experience last time too.
Yeah, that's true. With Everything Everywhere. But yeah, I mean, it's an honor, obviously, to step into this role, and to be able to be part of such an expansive, intertwined like mythology, that is Marvel. And I remember when I think it might have been the first MCU movie, but I remember when I saw Iron Man in theaters, when I was like in high school or whatever, and it's definitely one of those moments where you're just like, oh yeah, if I could write a letter to my younger self, like things are gonna be okay. But not only that, but to step into, because obviously when working on something by Marvel or with so much precedent, there's pressure to kind of like maybe fit a certain mold or something like that. And we were lucky in this scenario, I think, also because when we were asked to do it, we were asked in such a way that was like, okay, like we actually want something kind of new. And as a band that hasn't done that much scoring together and that hasn't like necessarily established too much, like it's something that felt like an opportunity for us to experiment and find a new sort of sound for a movie that the director Jake was also trying to make a Marvel film that is still very much a Marvel film, but maybe exploring things in a different way aesthetically in terms of storytelling, but also definitely in terms of sound. And the fact that it was also not a sequel to an existing thing, it just like gave us a lot of freedom to kind of explore what it would mean to us to make a Marvel film. And that was the cherry on top of the honor that's already, stepping into a role like this. Yeah.
That's a wrap, and a big love from all Marvel fans in India. Thank you for doing this score, and we hope there are many more. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
94.3 Radio 1.